Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. My name is Tom Scott. I'm going to be hosting the webinar today. Just wanted to say hello. Just give it a couple of minutes to see if we get any more people joining us for the webinar today. So I'll just give it a couple of minutes and then get started. Okay, we're still at 7 attendees, so I will get started. I don't want to penalize anybody for being on time. So thank you very much for joining us today. As I said, my name's Tom Scott. I'm the product manager at Modality for our ONECONSULTATION service, and I've been working in developing this and working with NHS trusts specifically, and then also care providers over the last two and a half years whilst we've been building this out. And the webinar today is to talk to you around some of the work we've been doing with some of the great NHS trusts around the UK, and how and what services that we've played a small part in enabling for them. So as part of the webinar today, I'll just give a quick overview from our perspective of the challenges that we're seeing in terms of the people working in the NHS and care providers are facing today, not just with the COVID-19 situation, that's highlighted a lot of them, but really focusing on what some of the challenges are around offering a digital option to consume their services. And then just touch on how we've helped address them with our ONECONSULTATION service, and then look at a use case with one of the trusts we've been working with, and then finally a look forward as to see what's on the roadmap for ONECONSULTATION, given the interest that we've seen and the wealth of feedback that we received, just to quantify that and to show you where we're going to take the product and the services over the next few months. So just a bit of housekeeping. There is a chat option within the webinar, so if anyone has any questions or queries or thoughts, then please post in there. I'll break at various points to review any questions and answer anything that you guys asked, and if I don't know the answer, I will go away. We've got all the details of people that registered, and then we'll come back to you once we've confirmed that. So from the outside looking in to the NHS, the challenges that we see that people have come to us with is that and these have been highlighted very much by the COVID-19 pandemic, but these are challenges that, having worked with Berkshire NHS on this for the last 2 years, these are challenges that NHS trusts have been working through and addressing to try and offer this digital option for their services. And it's basically to how can you deliver a simple user experience for people to join the call. So in our world, in our techie world, at Modality and anyone working in IT or within Microsoft, the idea of joining a video conference is quite is becoming second nature these days. We're very familiar with it, and we're also, from the technical side, we're quite happy to troubleshoot things with internet connections and so on and so forth, and resetting passwords. That doesn't always translate in terms of people that you would, if you want to offer a service like this out to everybody, a lot of whom don't work in IT or don't work in a technology-based industry. They need a solution to be able to join a virtual consultation that's quick and simple, and it is just something that's easy to use, so they don't worry about it. They don't spend ages worrying about how they download a plugin, how they register an account. It's quick and easy to use, and they can just get into the consultation and focus on having their appointment, as opposed to worrying about how they get into the appointment in the first place. From the patient side of it, that was one of our main drivers when we looked at this. So it had to be easy to use. From the NHS, from the clinician side of this, we needed to offer something that it gives that digital option for existing services, but also the speed, but speed is crucial. So being able to implement it quickly, to utilize existing technology, and again, give something that's familiar and easy for clinicians to use, because everybody's so busy, they don't have time to take out of the day to go and learn a whole new IT system. They just want to plug it into something that people already know how it works, and can then go ahead and use it to deliver these services. And it also needs the ability to scale and support large call volumes. We've seen, in particular with ONECONSULTATION over the last 3 weeks, what that means in terms of large call volumes. So I think yesterday alone, there were nearly 1,300 individual virtual consultations hosted on our platform. And this is with that's with 4 NHS trusts using it, and they're ramping up the services as we speak. So when this does get adopted and used, it's at a large scale. So whatever technology that the people decide to use to deliver this services, it needs to be able to scale and support these large call volumes, because if patients log on for the first time and it's a terrible experience and they can't hear or they can't see the clinician, then you're going to lose people at that initial integration. They're going to think, well, I'll just go back to going to see people, or I'll phone people, and you'll lose them in terms of adopting the technology. So from the outset, it's got to be a good user experience for the patient, both in terms of the joining mechanism, but also the quality of the service they're receiving from the technology side. And finally, the security is a big thing that's been discussed many times in the press over the last few weeks. Whatever the solution is, it has to be secure. There has to be anonymity for the doctors, and there needs to be no patient information stored by the service. You guys have got agreements. You've got great patient record systems that are in place, and all of that process exists. This just needs to be a mechanism to allow the doctor to talk to the patient. We don't want to get into the business of storing any patient information. So as an overview, that's how we see from the technology side a lot of the challenges facing the NHS trusts and care providers, and it's really any large organization that wants to deliver video at scale. These are consistent challenges across all of them. It's user experience for the IT term, but it's got to be easy to use, and it's got to be good quality. And those are what it boils down to, and quick to deploy and adopt. And if you can get those right, we've seen that actually the usage of it increases massively. People become happy and comfortable using it very quickly, and you start to see return on investment and return on and people adopting the service. So I'll introduce our ONECONSULTATION service now. So just a bit of background, and then I'll just use PowerPoint to set the scene, and then just show you a quick demonstration. These are the challenges that were set out for us when we designed ONECONSULTATION. So this was in discussion with various NHS trusts and care providers, and some local government people involved in this, but basically giving us a list of what this had to do, and also crucially what had prevented in their eyes this taking off before. So again, I've touched on a lot of these already, but it's got to be easy to access in terms of not having a password for patients, because if they need to reset it, then there has to be you have to rely on the patient resetting it to access the service. They might not know that until they then go for their appointment. So if their appointment's only 20 minutes long, then they spend 10 minutes of it resetting their password. You've already lost 10 minutes of them. So these were some of the crucial design decisions that we had to take in building ONECONSULTATION. The usage of existing platforms in the NHS, well, we're a Microsoft 365 partner. So we built ONECONSULTATION as a bolt-on to Office 365. So we use the clinicians use Teams to access it. We report in Power BI. All of our infrastructure is stored in Microsoft Azure. So we are very much tied to the Microsoft story with this. And working down the list, in the interest of time, I won't go through all of these. Some of they're all quite self-explanatory. The main one that I just wanted to highlight as well is that the anonymity for the doctor in the video consultation. A lot of challenges that we get with people when we say that this is a bolt-on to Microsoft Teams, a lot of the challenges that we get from people are that, well, they think, well, why can't I just use Teams for this? And it's a very valid point. You absolutely can. The main reason, or one of the main reasons that Teams doesn't quite work in this scenario is that in order to use Teams, you're going to give the patient, the doctor, or the clinician, or the professional, the nurse's email address. That's going to be needed. They're going to see that when they join the call. So you're instantly giving contact details out to that doctor, which isn't the most professional way to deliver this service. You would then risk patients just coming directly to the doctor once they've got those details. It needs to be anonymous and it needs to be secure as well. So there's no way that because of the architecture of this, we've delivered that in terms of we don't ever expose those details from the clinician to the patient at any point. And finally, we don't store, as I said earlier, we don't store any patient data with this. So we, from the GDPR standpoint, we're not processing any data at all. We don't collect any data. We don't store any data for the patient with this. As I've said before, ONECONSULTATION, just to give you a quick service overview, as I think I've touched on already, it's a bolt-on to Microsoft Teams and Skype for Business. It's built in Azure, and we saw that architecture as the best way and the most effective and efficient way to address the challenges that that were set out for us when building the service. So without further ado, I'll just give you a quick demo to show you how the service works, and then go on to a quick use case from there. So I'll just come out to PowerPoint. So when the first thing to tell you about ONECONSULTATION is there's no scheduling service within the software. It's designed so that you can book appointments in however you want, using whatever scheduling service you have at the moment. When you book those appointments, we'll give you a website or a web address for each service that you want to use the ONECONSULTATIon. So this is our demo platform. But if we had talking therapies using this, then there would be a talking therapies web page. There's nutrition and dietetics, they'd have their own one, and so on and so forth. When we talked about scale, with the NHS trust that we've been working with, we've enabled up to 180 different portals that are being used today. So when it comes to scheduling the appointment for that service, you would do that as you usually would, and you would just drop this website into that existing scheduling system. So if it's a text message with Rio, you just drop this in there, send this out to people, and then when it's time for their appointment, they just go to the web page that they've been given for the service, and you can brand this however you like, and then they would just enter their name and then appointment number in the web browser, and then they would just begin the call. So they would click on begin consultation. So for ONECONSULTATIon, no, that is the join experience for it. It uses the web browser to deliver the integration to deliver the video and audio quality through there. So there's no plugins to download and there's no software to download. From the patient point of view, they are now waiting for their consultation to start. That's it for them. From the clinician point of view, when they go to use ONECONSULTATIon, we would give them a website, the admin.oneconsultation.net page. And this is the point when I'm not going to go into the details on the call, but we would integrate with your Office 365 environment and give you, and all that would mean is that when the clinician goes to sign in, they sign in with their Microsoft email address and password. Sorry, not their Microsoft, their usual email address and password they use to access the service. And once you've signed in, then as the clinician, you're presented with the different rooms to enter. So again, these are something that we can configure on the system. Just to go into the demo room. And then this is the virtual waiting room of ONECONSULTATION. And from the clinician point of view, you can see who is waiting and who's arrived for their consultation. So this has been built to mirror the experience of a GP surgery waiting room. So anyone can come into it, then you can see who's waiting, the answers to the questions that they have presented. And if you tie that up with the scheduling system, you'll know that Tom, with that appointment number or date of birth, has arrived for his appointment at this time. And then for the doctor, they just click on Enter Room. And at this point, it opens Microsoft Teams. And I would just pop this out to show you. What that does within Teams is it gives you the option then to, I'll show you in this one, to dial into the ONECONSULTATION session here. So you place the call through Teams. It then dials into the call and the clinician would drive it through Teams and the patient would stay in the web browser here. I won't show you it joining this because it will cut me off this call, but that was the architecture of ONECONSULTATION as a demo. I'll just pause for a second there just to see if we've got any questions coming in, or if anyone wants to post anything just to ask about that initial demo, then feel free to do so. No. Okay, I can pick up any questions at the end if anyone thinks of anything. The final thing that I just wanted to show you with this demonstration is the ability that the clinicians have got to initiate the call. So in that scenario we just went through, the consultation was started by the patient joining the virtual waiting room. If I click on share here, then we can send, this is a way that the clinician can start it. So using this method, the clinician can send a text message to someone. And then when they click on send link, that will then create a consultation in the waiting room. And that sends a text message directly to the number that you've entered in here. And that will give a link in that text message to the patient. They can then just click on it on the smartphone and they would then come into the call. So there's two ways that you can initiate it, but ultimately you're getting to the stage that the patient joins through the web browser, the clinician can join using Microsoft Teams or Skype for Business if you're running that infrastructure. So I just wanted to talk through one of the success stories we've had with one of our NHS trusts we've been working with over the last month. So about at the beginning of March, we began working with Midlands NHS Trust. They were trialing ONECONSULTATION before all of the the COVID-19 situation started, and then before the directive for everybody to work from home, they were trialing the service, and were looking for something to give a digital option to some of the services within their practice, so that they could then work remotely and offer these services if needed. That accelerated quite quickly, and in the course of a week, we worked with them. We enabled 180 services following the trial period, and to date, since the 25th of March, have delivered over 1,500 virtual consultations. We've also deployed a real-time reporting dashboard in Power BI that gives them a real-time visibility of the stats being used, the quality of the calls that are coming in, and allows them a mechanism to troubleshoot as well. So to identify clinicians and see where people might be having a poor call quality, a poor experience in the call quality stats, and actually then reach out to them to say, look, what's happening? Like, you're working from home, looking at some of those peripheral things that might be affecting it, such as not being close to the router, a poor internet connection, reduced bandwidth, all of the things that could affect video traffic, they can have visibility of through this dashboard. And now that was all through Skype for Business, and we're now looking at that's been using Microsoft Teams and Skype for Business to use with ONECONSULTATION. So just moving towards the end now, in terms of the roadmap for ONECONSULTATION, we've been working with lots of people, taken a lot of integration and updates into the service. In terms of feature-wise, we are working through a lot of these. We're looking to deliver this in the next few months. The main one for us at the moment is working on group consultations. So the ability that a clinician can deliver a group consultation and either have the scenario where all the participants can see each other, like a clinician, like a collaboration meeting, where they can all see and talk to each other, but also the idea that it's an auditorium setting where a customer can, sorry, beg your pardon, an auditorium setting is where the clinician is the person that is always fixed on screen, and then all of the patients can then see the clinician. But they can't see each other. So it's very much like a training course type scenario where you're broadcasting out to people. And we're also looking at, within those group consultations, scenarios for hearing impaired services, where there is the clinician can invite a third party into the call to act as an interpreter between the clinician and the patient if needed. So we're working through the group consultations as our next element that we're going to, the next big development within ONECONSULTATION we hope to have in the next week or so, to be able to put out there for people to test. But that's the feedback we've taken on, that once the one-to-one services have adopted, the group consultations is very much something that people would like to explore with this. And then finally, just in summary, I think the thing that I've noticed the most is that the NHS is rightly getting a lot of very positive press. But what we've seen as well as the people on the front line delivering in the hospitals, the response from the IT teams of the NHS Trust has been incredible. Just the pressure that has all of a sudden come on everybody to enable a working from home solution that kind of not just addresses the virtual consultation with the patient services like this, but also gives people the ability to keep doing their day job as well and talking to each other, is something that's almost had to have been turned on at scale overnight. So the effort there's just been absolutely incredible. We've seen that outside of all of the situation we find ourselves in, it's becoming obvious that providing a digital option for people is going to be crucial in the future. So seeing when things go back to some kind of normality, obviously people will still see each other again, but that digital option of how you can access your service through at home using the technology available to us is going to be crucial, because due to necessity, people have seen that it is possible over the last few weeks, and when we find some kind of balance again in their lives, that's going to come back to hopefully to people maintaining and seeing that and seeing the benefits of it when used alongside the traditional face-to-face appointments. And where the final thought from me within one consultation is, on top of all that, that if you're using Microsoft Office 365 and Teams, then we've built one consultation to fit that ecosystem. We work very closely with Microsoft on a lot of engagements, or in the services hosted in Azure, in a globally hosted Azure tenant, and we use Power BI to present all of the information and to provide all the reporting elements back to it. So within 365, and if you're using Teams, then one consultation is something that we can turn on for you very quickly. So again, with the plug at the bottom, you can register for a trial at the below website, and this deck will be sent around. So if you're interested in trialing the service, then we can get this turned on very quickly for you. I've got 4 minutes to spare, so I've managed not to talk over, which is good, and some would say remarkable. Yeah, I guess just the chance to, if there's any questions, or I can't see anything in the chat, so I will just give that a second to see if there's anything that comes up, or again, if anyone thinks of anything, then feel free to reach out to Modality. Then we'll be happy to help support you in whatever it is that you're doing around the online consultation space. I can't see any questions come in, so I'll call it there. Thank you again so much for your time and for taking the time to join today, guys. And yep, I wish, if there's any, feel free to reach out. But ultimately, thank you very much for joining, and have a great rest of the day.